A friend of mine had to fire his real estate agent after just the third showing. At every open house, the agent kept pushing to close the deal while completely ignoring obvious issues with the home. Sometimes you really have to ask yourself, is my agent actually helping me, or are they just trying to get the deal done? You're not alone. A lot of buyers and sellers get this gut feeling that their agent is more focused on the transaction than on what they actually want. A quick search on the internet shows tons of stories. Some are great, experienced agents guiding people to their dream homes. Others, horror stories involving pushy, inexperienced agents making the process a nightmare. Here's one true story from someone in the US that I think a lot of us can relate to. I went with a Zillow recommended agent once, never again. He was super pushy. He brought his 10-year-old kid with him who wasn't well behaved and run circle around me the whole tour. He dismissed my concerns about lead paint and told me to just renovate the house room by room. At the end, even he told me I wasn't serious about buying, and this was literally the first house I looked at. To top it off, he parked in the neighborhood's handicapped spot and got into the shouting match when they asked him to move. In today's episode, we're talking about something a lot of people think but rarely say it out loud. Is your realtor actually working in your best interest or just chasing a commission check? We'll break down how to choose a realtor who actually cares, how to spot the difference between a true advocate and a commission hunter, how to communicate clearly so your agent understands your goals, and what red flags to watch out for if someone's just trying to close the deal. Okay, first, what does a good realtor actually do? A great agent educates you about the market, doesn't just sell you a dream, listens to your needs and adjusts based on your feedback, protects your time and money even if that means walking away from a deal, tells you the hard truths, not just what you really want to hear, represents your interest fiercely whether you're buying or selling. A commission chaser might rush you into decisions, overhype properties or downplay major flaws, push you toward higher bids just to close faster, avoid conflict with other parties even if it's compromising your position, ghost you right after the deal is just done. And how to choose a realtor who works for you? Here are 4 key things to look for when choosing a realtor. First, interview them. Seriously, you're hiring this person for a huge job. Don't just go with your cousin's friend or someone from Instagram. You need to at least interview 3 and ideally 5 agents. Please remember this, based on the advice of this person, you're investing a minimum of $500,000 here in BC. Actually, the average home price in the Lower Mainland is over $1.2 million. You'll likely borrow about $1 million, and from this transaction, your agent will make about $17,000 if you're a buyer, and if you're a seller, you pay around $40,000 in agent's fee. So ask yourself, would you spend over $1 million or pay someone between $17,000 to $40,000 based on a quick gut feeling without properly vetting them? Of course not. That's why interviewing them systematically is crucial. During the interview, ask open-ended questions. You want to start with broader questions like the real estate market and zooming into more specific questions like the market or even the building you're looking for. A good example of the questions you can ask is, tell me about the current market in general. How are prices trending? What do you know about the specific area I'm buying in? For example, West End, downtown Vancouver. What are some standout buildings in that neighborhood? And why? If you are a seller, ask what would their marketing strategy look like? Based on my situation and budget, what would be both an ideal and real estate purchase? How would you approach negotiation in my particular case? What is your availability and what is the best way for us to stay in touch? Tell me about the time you had to walk away from a deal. Describe a situation where you negotiated a great deal for a buyer. How did you do that? During an interview, zoom out first with broad questions and then zoom in to assess their actual knowledge. If you get vague or conflicting answers, ask for clarification or proof. I recommend you to ask for permission to record the interview and take notes. Eventually, ask about their commission structure too. Are they transparent about their fees? Is there any room for negotiation? If the agent seems unwilling to go through an interview or start getting uncomfortable when you dig deeper, congratulations, you already spotted a red flag. Their response tells you a lot about their professionalism and respect for your time. You can also gauge if they know the legal and financial side of real estate and how confident they are navigating your situation. Second, check their references. Ask for recent clients you can actually talk to. A good agent won't hesitate. When calling references, do not sound robotic. Introduce yourself and explain you got their number from the agent. Mention that you're trying to make a major life decision and are looking for an agent who is the right fit. And ask if now is a good time or if they prefer to talk later. When checking in with the reference, start with broad, open-ended question again. How do you know the agent? As an example, what can you tell me about them? What were their strengths? If you could change anything about the transaction, what would that be? Could your agent have helped with that? Then zoom in. Do you think they have deep market knowledge in that area? Did they have a proper marketing strategy in place? Are they strong negotiators? Did they keep your best interest in mind? Were they present and responsive from start to finish? Repeat this process for all the references provided and look for consistency. If there are mixed reviews, be cautious. Third, review their track record but also their fit with you. Yes, experience matters, but so does alignment. An agent might be very successful but in a completely different niche or area than the one that you're focusing on. They might be too new and lack the confidence and or skills to navigate a complex transaction, or they might be too busy to give you the attention you really deserve. What you want is a happy medium, someone experienced enough but also attentive and invested in your success. Good agents usually start with a discovery phase, an in-depth chat to learn about your budget, lifestyle, must-haves and deal breakers, and fears and hesitations. If they skip this part and immediately set up an email alert with basic listings, that's not a great sign. Also remember, even great agents are not mind readers. You need to clearly express your goals and limitations to help them help you. Once you gather this info, use the interview cheat sheet and visual analog scale to rate each agent. The total score will help you objectively see who's the right fit. Yes, it takes effort, but it's a lot easier than buying a 1.2 million home and regretting it because you didn't vet your agent properly. You might find some red flags during the interview and some after hiring them, but the interview usually helps you eliminate a lot of concerns. Usually when realtors find a client being serious, professional, and systematic, they align their systems to be more serious, professional, and systematic too. Red flags before and after hiring. They might be unwilling to be interviewed, they're not punctual or prepared, they rush through your questions or do not listen, they seem defensive or vague, they won't provide references, and their answers are inconsistent. After hiring, they might pressure you to move fast constantly, they avoid in-depth discussion and analysis, they discourage second opinions, they seem more excited about the home than you do, they downplay serious concerns, for example skipping inspections, they oversimplify important problems with a property, they send irrelevant listings or fail to understand your needs, they ghost you or are slow to reply, they push you to increase budget as a buyer or reduce asking price as a seller without proper logic, they do not have a solid marketing strategy in place, and finally they push you off to an assistant immediately. Remember, you're the client, you set the pace. If something feels off, do not ignore it. But let's be honest, it's not all about spotting red flags. There are plenty of professional, honest agents out there who genuinely care and can help you make the best decision at the right time. And sometimes the issue isn't the agent, it's that we aren't communicating clearly or aren't fully sure what we want ourselves. So with that in mind, let me give you a few rules to help you keep your relationship with your agent healthy and productive. First, know what you want and communicate it clearly. Second, set boundaries. Third, ask questions, even basic ones. 4, hold your agent accountable and ask for strategy explanations. 5, give feedback regularly and respectfully. Remember, a great agent-client relationship feels like you feel informed, not overwhelmed, you feel respected, not rushed, you feel supported, not sold to, and you trust they have your back even if it means fewer deals for them. Let's quickly recap. Not all agents are the same. Interview, do not just hire. Be honest about your goals and expectations. Watch for red flags like urgency, deflection, and vague answers. A good agent protects you, not just the deal. You can and should walk away from an agent who is not the right fit. Thanks for watching. In the next episode, we'll cover a bias that bites you so bad in real estate transactions. See you in the next one.